It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I had the privilege to interview the Virginia Tech head softball coach, Pete DeMore. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Brandon. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. Can you talk about your coaching experience and how you got started in college softball?
Yeah, it's been a long, windy road for me. My dad started playing men's fast pitch when he was probably I don't know 20, 25, 26, and so when I was born into a fast pitch family, and my dad he played until I was probably 8 or 9, or and in those younger years I was a bat boy for his team. And so I learned how to throw underhand, and I got to travel on the weekends with my dad's teams, and it was just a fun experience for me. And when I got a little bit older, I started playing baseball, obviously, because that's what boys do in America. And when my baseball career was over, I really didn't have anything to do to whet my competitive appetite, as you would say. And so I started playing men's fast pitch, and really loved the game. And so one thing led to another. I got an opportunity to go to Missouri, and I've been in coaching ever since.
Can you talk about what you've accomplished at Missouri as, of course, the assistant coach and associate head coach?
Yeah, we had a lot of strong years there, and I think one of the things that stands out to me, just as the program, I look back on it. We were there for 10 years, and we made regionals every single year, and that's quite an accomplishment. And not only did we make regionals, we made super regionals 8 times, and obviously went to the World Series 3 times. But short of winning a national championship, we were one of the most successful programs in the country for about 10 years, and I'm really proud of that.
Can you talk about your time at Ken State?
Kennesaw, and Kennesaw is in Georgia, and it's a great school. Gave me my first opportunity to be a head coach. It's in the middle of a softball hotbed, which is Marietta, and Marietta's got a lot of young, talented softball travel teams down there. So we were fortunate to win 40 games my first year, and just barely missed out making the NCAA postseason. But we did make the NIT and NISC, I think they call it now, and got to play postseason there. And then my second year, we won the ASUN championship, regular and tournament, and made regionals for the first time in school history. So really proud of what we accomplished there. It was a fun 2 years for me.
Can you talk about what you've accomplished so far at Virginia Tech?
Oh yeah, so far my first year, I think we won 47 games. I think we finished. We They don't really crown a regular season champion, but if they did, we would have won it. I think we were 20-4 my first year in conference. Number one seed going into the tournament. Made regionals. Made it to Sunday and regionals, which is a big step. And so first year was as good as a first year could be. Last year I think we finished 20-4, and so at the end we were, I think, ninth in RPI. So in RPI we were top 10. So we had things rolling, and then COVID struck, and we all went home for the day.
Can you talk about the 2018 season whenever you broke the record for the most wins since 2005?
Yeah. So I think that's 19. My first year at Tech, we won 20 games in conference, I believe. It's just one of those things. We had good pitching, but we could hit, and so if you have good pitching and you can hit, it's a recipe for a lot of wins. So I think we ended up. I think we ended up hitting 97 home runs that year, which is the previous year before we got here. I think they hit 35. So we increased the home run power production quite a bit, and we had good pitching go along with it. So that's a recipe for success.
Can you talk about how successful you were in 2020 before, of course, COVID, and how you plan to bounce back?
Yeah, we had things rolling, and one of the most things I'm proud about last year was we were 20-4 or something like that. 23-4. I forget what the record was, but we didn't play a single home game, so we were on the road all the time and just taking care of business on the road. That's the sign of when things are going pretty well for you. So we lost one starter due to transferring, and one graduated. So didn't lose a whole ton of players or just talent, and we brought in some good players. So I'm looking forward to this year, see where we stand compared to last year.
Can you talk about, of course, how that extra year of eligibility with your sport, how that has impacted?
Yeah, well, I think for everybody, it's really inflated the roster size. So we have a lot of kids on our roster. Um, the thing that helps us is a lot of our players are young, so they get an extra year. So like a second year sophomore now has been in our program for 3 years, and but on paper they're only a sophomore. So they know how I expect to play and what's expected of them in the program. So the extra year is going to be pretty important for them. So yeah, but on a whole, it's just there's going to be some big rosters coming down the pipe. It's just I think teams want to have around 24-ish is a max, and some teams are going to have, including ours, 30 the next couple of years, and it's just one of those things where we're just gonna have to navigate it because nobody's really gone through this before.
How has that impacted, of course, recruitment?
Oh yeah, that's been a big one, and that's there's two ways to go about it. So when before COVID hit, our 2021 class was pretty much was finalized. So the kids coming in next year, and so with the current kids getting an extra year, now we're adding on the 2021 class. That's where the big rosters come in. So um, just my personal experience and my belief and morals and all that, I gave my word to the 2021 class, and I wasn't going to say you can't come here because our roster's too big. I said our roster's going to be big. You still coming here? And they said, yeah. They appreciated that. Now, some coaches they aren't comfortable with the big roster size, and they say to the 2021 class, sorry, you got to go somewhere else. And I just didn't feel like that in our program was the right way to go about it. So yeah. So as far as 2022s go, we've got it's kind of the same. You just got to be honest with those kids.
Can you talk about the softball culture that you have built at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, it's really cliche to say that you're a blue collar program, but we just do our work. We really don't boast a lot. We don't look at other people's programs and compare ourselves. We just find what works for us, and we just work at it. So there's a lot of teams that want to compare other teams and be boastful on social media about what they do, and it's funny, Brandon, a lot of my recruits aren't even on social media. They just aren't, and it's funny. It's just I would say 8 out of 10 or they're on social media because every kid is these days, but it's not like they're posting every single day. It's I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's just the way it seems to be. So the culture is good here. We're all, and it's we like to have fun, but we take care of our business when we need to.
Can you talk about the recruitment process and what you look for in upcoming future softball players?
Yeah, well, first you have to see what the needs are of your program. So if let's say we're graduating let's say second baseman, for example, well, I mean, that kind of narrows down what you need for that class for the incoming kids. So that's one, is what are your needs? And then as far as players go, number one, you have to have talent. I'd love to have a bunch of character kids. Talk to a lot of coaches that say we look for character. That's great, but there comes a point where you have a bunch of angels on your team that can't play, and then you're not winning. So number one has to be talent. You have to have kids that can help you win on the field, and then the talent comes in after that. So or not talent, but the character. So are they a fit for your program? Everybody can see talent. They can see how hard you throw, how fast you run, how fast you swing the bat. But the things behind the scenes, as far as the character, that's really important.
Can you talk about how hard it was to, of course, watch film of players and not be able to go out on film to see
Yeah,
like how they are without film?
sure. Right now, we're in a virtual recruiting landscape, so everything is done on film. And so there's a couple ways to look at it. I I would rather be out and seeing kids on my own, because once again, you see more not on camera than you do on camera. So if I was to watch a game and I sit in my office and I'm watching, you know, two teams play, what you see is pretty much a fixed camera on a backstop. So the camera doesn't zoom into the outfield, it doesn't zoom into the shortstop, it doesn't zoom into the corner infielders. What you pretty much see is the pitcher hitter confrontation, and that's great. You can tell if pitchers have swing and miss stuff. You can tell bat speed, and that's pretty much where it ends. So for me, just I want to see, does a kid run a ball out when it's a pop up to the infield? Does the kid strike out on three pitches and walk to her position in right field the next inning? Those things tell you more than what you see just pitcher hitter. So I think it's really convenient right now to be able to watch something from the comfort of your office, but there's just so much more you need to see, and we really can't see it right now.
What is the official visit like for softball whenever COVID is not happening?
Well, official visits have really been just after kids commit. So it's not like football or basketball where you wine and dine kids on campus on their official visit. So it's always been for us where recruitment has been early, and now we pushed it back to junior year. But let's say a junior commit to you September 1st. Well, they're verbally committed to you, so when they come on the official visit, it's our time to get those kids caught up into our program as much as you can in that weekend. So there's a lot of time. It's not really spent with the coaches; it's spent with the players. So they get to spend time in the dorms. They go hang out with kids off campus. Those kind of things. We of course spend time with those kids, but I think it's more important to get those kids acclimated to your program right away than whining and dining when they're already coming to you anyway.
Do they get to try on the jerseys on the official visits?
Yeah, they do. They really like to do that.
What advice would you give upcoming future softball players looking to play on the college level?
Well, I think the first thing that I always tell kids is always worked to get better. And I think kids right now work to get recruited. So it's let's just say I'm going through the recruiting process, and I go out and I show people highlights, and they think that the recruiting supersedes just actual, let's just work to get better. So I think there needs to be continual improvement, and so it's really kind of cliche, but recruiting takes care of itself if you're good enough to play. So that's the one thing is always improve every day. Have goals, set goals, get those goals, and just keep working on getting better. Number 2 right now is the camera is never off you. That's the one thing. Always assume people are watching. So you're in the sand lot playing a game, and it's streamed live. Assume coaches are there watching you, and every rep means something. So in between innings, let's see your arm, as much as you possibly can. And I said the pitcher hitter confrontation is the one thing that you see on film, but you can see a little bit of arm action. You can see kids that run onto the field. You can see those kind of things. So the camera never comes off, and third, obviously just take care of your schoolwork, because the smarter you are, the more opportunities you'll have.
That's wonderful advice. What advice would you give upcoming college coaches looking to get into the industry of college softball?
Oh, well, there's a couple things. You never want to pigeonhole yourself into something. So for me, I came in and I could throw batting practice, and I knew about pitching a little bit, and I could hit. So I was hitting coach / I could do pitching, I could do catching, I could do some infield. You can do a lot of different things. So I don't think it's necessarily wise for somebody to say, I'm a hitting coach only. You got to bring more to the table nowadays. So that's one. And another thing is you got to network. So I'm convinced 100% you get jobs based on who you know. So don't think anybody's beneath you. So like I'm going to go talk to an NAIA coach. I mean, a lot of the friends that I have in this business are NAIA, D2, D3. They're all great coaches, and they know somebody that knows somebody. So I see a lot of times, if you're a Power 5 coach, you won't talk to the NAIA because you think you're better. You can't. You have to treat everybody right, and you never know who that person knows.
That's wonderful.
And then number 3 is you have to trust your gut. So my former volunteer was he was a volunteer coach for me, and I asked him to be on our staff, and he was 30 years old from Missouri, and he moved all the way to Virginia Tech for the opportunity. He had an opportunity to come here and be on a staff. So he was here for a year, lived on ramen noodles, and now he's got an assistant coaching job in Division I. So there's no straight path to getting a job in this business. You just have to pay your dues, and you have to jump on opportunities when they come.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find, of course, you at on social media, along with Virginia Tech softball?
I think we're Hokies softball on Twitter, and I think I'm VT softball coach on Twitter. I think so.
Thank you again, Coach Pete, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with Virginia Tech.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.